is Heidi Talbot. I am a singer and songwriter originally from Ireland and now living in Scotland. I had this idea that I would like to make an album of songs that were inspired by women, and I looked to home. I looked back at Ireland and back in the history of Ireland, different goddesses and powerful women in Irish history that I felt resonated with me. One of the first obvious women was Bridget, who's from Kildare, the same part of Ireland that I'm from, who's the goddess of fire and music and poetry and children and agriculture. There was lots of stories when I was growing up in Kildare about Bridget. The first song that came was a song for her. When I started looking at the mythical legends and different women, powerful women, goddesses of Ireland, another quite obvious one was Grania Whale or Grace O'Malley. So a song came for her quite quickly as well. If I'm writing songs, there's two ways it works. It's either that I set some time aside every day and I sit down and I have a half an hour, and I write, and whatever is there is there. And sometimes the songs happen and sometimes I just make them worse and then I come back another day and they get better. But the other side of it is if I clear myself out, if I clear my head, so if I go for a really long walk and when I come back from walking or yoga or exercise and I feel like my mind is clear, it's almost like they just come. Without sounding too metaphysical about it, I like to think that I catch them sometimes, that they're around and then I just catch an idea and it just writes itself very quickly. But a couple of songs came through that I was a little bit like, oh, I don't know where that came from. And then looking back at them, it was almost like a story about one of my grandmothers, who I didn't know very well, but I had heard her story after she'd passed away. So that came out quite quickly and I was like, that is basically from her perspective. The album is called Grace Untold, which I suppose we're playing on the, Grace O'Malley, the song for Grace, but also the other meanings of grace and that kind of intervention and, divineness, something coming through. And her story was untold. There was lots of gaps in her story, the history of what she did and her reign and her power in the west of Ireland. There's lots of speculation because she was kind of erased from history. So that's why I decided to call it Grace Untold. I suppose being from Ireland as well, we're very inclined to lean towards the ghostly voices and things and believing that there is something else that we can't see. I feel like the songs for these women, they've come to me and they've told me their stories, so I believe I am telling their stories for them in a way. It's been 3 years since I recorded my last album, and I haven't felt like recording more music. It hadn't felt like time until now, and I feel that these stories and these songs have been told to me, and this is my way to pass them on to you.